beach was there to welcome men returning alive once again. Then more bad weather, confined to harbor with idle fishing gear, catches that were of no value except perhaps for making guano. It depended on so much, especially the market prices in a different world from this. The sorted fish were tail-tied and hung, and the autumn's bizarre adventure was over. Ingrid and Nellie turned over the salted fish, discarded the bad ones, ensuring that those at the bottom of the old pile were at the top of the new one. Now it was the end of the herring season, and the mainland girls were given notice. They received their meager wages, picked the fish scales from each other's faces, washed each other's hair in cold water, dried and combed it, taking care to ensure their hair bands were straight before they left on the steamboat, laughing and wearing clothes no one had seen before. With the same steamer came a letter from Ingrid's aunt, Barrøy, who was in hospital, set down on paper by a nurse whose handwriting was like a doctor's, a scrawl which Ingrid was able to read but did not understand. Her aunt wasn't coming up north because her upper femur was not knitting, and because she couldn't get a lift. She would be back in good time for Christmas, she said twice. Barrøy was 59 and Ingrid 35. That evening she soon fell asleep and had no dreams. She also woke early and lay listening to the wind clawing at the slate roof and the sea gurgling and lashing between the posts beneath the quay, and Nellie's breathing. Nellie's sleep was human. It was the only thing here that was as it should be. The sound of Nellie sleeping night after night. Now she couldn't stand it any more. Ingrid got up, washed in the galvanized bucket, packed her suitcase, didn't eat or make any coffee, carried her stinking work clothes down to the place behind the canning factory where the Germans burned rubbish, and tossed them into the oil drum, staring at the flames until people began to assemble on the quay. It was snowing lightly. She went back and brewed some coffee of sorts, poured a cup and placed it on the chair by the bedhead next to Nellie, who still lay there looking like a serene corpse, waited for the reflection on the wall to tell her that the foreman had also arrived, that the day was now dawning, though it was still dark, then got to her feet, went down to the office with her suitcase, and said she wanted to settle up. He placed his well-worn pencil on the desk, seemed surprised, said she had caught him on the hop. He couldn't do without her. Fish would be coming in that evening. He was sure of that. She was both necessary and surplus to requirements. The paymaster's usual convoluted trickery, but Ingrid was from an island. The sky was her roof and walls, so she repeated that she wanted her money now, and waited patiently for all the drawers to be opened and closed, all the papers to be shuffled, the ambivalent sighs over the timesheet and the equally laborious counting of the dog-eared banknotes, as though it were an insult to ask for your wages, as though on payday it were the master who was to be pitied, not the slave. Ingrid walked up the icy road to the store and waited for Margot to open, selected the items she needed, including coffee and butter, paid with rations coupons and money, borrowed Margot's handcart, and wheeled her purchases down to the rowing boat, which had been moored beneath the quay all autumn. She cleared the snow from the boat with a baler, loaded her provisions and her suitcase, returned to the store with the cart, and on her way back passed 2 German soldiers who were sitting smoking on the sheltered side of the salt house. They must have been there all the time, watching her. She went down the steps, got into the boat, untied the mooring rope, and sat at the oars. One of the soldiers came over to the quayside and shouted something to her, gesticulated, cigarette in hand, a red eye in the winter gloom. She rested on the oars and sent him a quizzical look. Again he shouted something.